Have you ever noticed someone sitting in a group? Someone who listens more than they speak? Everyone is laughing. People are telling stories. Everyone seems comfortable jumping into the conversation. But this person is quiet. They smile, they react, they are paying attention. Yet they barely say anything. And the strange part is, they are not empty-minded. They are often thinking more than anyone else in the room. They have opinions. They have stories. They have things they want to say. So, why don't they? Psychology suggests that quiet people in social situations are often misunderstood. Many people assume they are shy, boring, unconfident, or that they simply don't care about the conversation. But sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes they are quiet because their mind is processing everything before they decide what is worth saying. And there are deeper psychological reasons behind this. Let's look at the real psychology behind people who stay quiet in groups even when they have so much to say. 1. They don't speak to fill silence. They speak with intention. Some people naturally talk as they think. Their thoughts become words immediately. But other people think first, organize their ideas, and then speak. Their brain creates a filter before every sentence. Is this actually interesting? Does this add something? Is this the right moment? Will people understand what I mean? This extra processing takes time. And sometimes, by the time they finish deciding what they want to say, the conversation has already moved somewhere else. So they stay quiet, not because they had nothing to contribute, but because their moment passed. 2. They are highly aware of how they are perceived. Many quiet people are extremely observant. They notice facial expressions, small changes in someone's tone, the reaction people have to certain comments. They are not just participating in the conversation. They are also watching the conversation. And this awareness can make social situations exhausting, because while someone else is simply talking, their brain might also be analyzing. Did that sound weird? Did they understand what I meant? Was that a good time to speak? This doesn't always come from insecurity. Sometimes it comes from being highly self-aware. Their brain is constantly trying to understand the social environment around them. 3. They prefer meaningful conversations over constant talking. Have you ever been surrounded by people, but still felt like the conversation was empty? Some people struggle with small talk because they don't feel connected by surface-level conversations. They don't just want to know what someone did today. They want to know what someone thinks, what they believe, what they care about, what they are afraid of. For them, a deep conversation with one person can feel more valuable than hours in a loud group. This is why they may appear quiet in a crowd, but become completely different when they are with someone they trust. The problem is not that they don't like people. The problem is that they don't connect with everyone in the same way. 4. They learned that speaking does not always mean being heard. For some people, silence is not just a personality trait. It is something they learned. Maybe when they were younger, they were interrupted often. Maybe their opinions were ignored. Maybe they were surrounded by people who were louder and always took control of conversations. Over time, the brain learned something. Maybe it's easier to stay quiet, not because they have nothing to say, but because they stopped expecting people to listen. And this can follow someone even when they enter new environments. A new school, a new workplace, a new group of friends. The situation changes, but the habit remains. 5. They have a rich internal world. One of the biggest misunderstandings about quiet people is that silence means nothing is happening. But often, silence means the opposite. Their mind is active. They are imagining, analyzing, connecting ideas, remembering details other people forget. They might notice the person sitting alone in the corner. They might remember a small detail someone mentioned weeks ago. They might think deeply about conversations that others immediately forget. Their world is not empty. It is just happening internally. And this is why many quiet people become the friends others trust the most. Because they listen, they remember, They don't need to be the center of attention to care. But there is also a difficult side. Being quiet in a world that rewards confidence and being visible can be frustrating. They watch other people speak easily. They watch louder personalities get noticed. They sometimes wonder, should I talk more? Would people like me more if I was different? And sometimes they start believing that being quiet is something they need to fix. But maybe the goal is not to become the loudest person in the room. Maybe the goal is learning when your voice deserves to be heard. Because being quiet is not the same as being invisible. A quiet person can have the strongest opinions, the deepest thoughts, and the most meaningful things to say. The world doesn't only need people who speak first. It also needs people who think carefully before they speak. So, next time you see someone who stays quiet in a group, don't assume they have nothing to say. They might simply have a mind that is full of things they are waiting for the right moment to share. And sometimes, the person who speaks the least is the person who has been paying attention the most. If you enjoy understanding the hidden psychology behind everyday behaviors, subscribe. Because here we don't just look at what people do. We try to understand why they do it